So points and discounts is no longer enough to engender loyalty. I'm not sure if you all agree or disagree. I know Oral's like, well, maybe, I don't know. But brands do need to create a deeper, more emotional relationship with their customer. I think we all agree to that.
Yes.
So we have a really diverse panel here. I think this is great because we're getting, major hotel chain perspective. We're getting, an airline and a super app perspective from Asia, and we're getting, a card and a fintech, perspective. So, right, and everyone has a different approach to loyalty and a different definition to loyalty based on their strategies. So what I want to ask each of you, and I'm going to start with you, Oral, is what is the definition of loyalty? And what is your specific approach to it?
Oh, tough questions to start. I would say probably more traditional definition, it's a mutual relationship between a brand and its customers, driven by how they choose to interact in terms of frequency, purchase occasion, and then the time dimension to the relationship. So that's really it. And over that dimension of time, place, and condition, how that interaction occurs and what value is exchanged, whether that value is in my kids love your resort, or I love earning lots of points for the next thing I want to do. That's kind of how I'd look at it.
So trying to connect with the customer specifically, what they want to get from that experience.
Yeah.
All right, Nadia?
For me, it's all about inclusivity, because I believe that loyalty has to sink back into the brand promise. And for MOVE, AirAsia MOVE, it's all about inclusivity. So how do you create a loyalty program that is only focusing on the frequent flyers? Because then, the 5-10%, great, but what happens to the other 90%? What we believe in is it's the share of wallet that somebody is spending with you. It's not just the frequency. So if I have $10 and I spend those $10 versus somebody else has $500 and they spend $100, I am really looking at who's spending the biggest share with me because they're putting their biggest nugget in. So loyalty for me is about inclusivity. It's about the share of wallet. It's about the number of happy moments that you have together.
And for those who may not be very familiar with what you're doing with MOVE, can you talk a little bit about it?
Sure. So in ASEAN, there's an airline by the name of AirAsia, which is a budget airline, and it has truly transformed how travel happens in ASEAN by being inclusive onto the middle class and the lower middle class, which only could dream about flying. We are now the next generation of the OTA of the same company, holding on to the same value of middle class and lower middle class budget, great value, but extending it beyond just the flights, but to loyalty as well as hotels, rides, activities, events, concerts. So the entire chain, but with a unique focus on value.
So AirAsia is a great example of a supplier that has really kind of created this almost OTA
the connected journeys.
Yeah, exactly. Jenn, Capital One, and of course, financial institutions doing so much in travel now, and you guys are at the forefront, and curating hotels, and you just keep going in the travel space. So
yeah, I love to hear that you think we're at the forefront. I share your thought. I think that we have been really focused on driving loyalty through just a couple of key vectors. One, I think our customers as a whole, when we think about driving loyalty for the enterprise, we think about driving loyalty to the card, right, and how they're engaging with our card products. The way that plays out in travel is slightly different than, a supplier or an OTA, a traditional OTA, in that our customers tend to be, on the whole, dramatically less brand loyal to any one kind of travel supplier or provider. They're really focused on understanding, hey, am I getting a great deal? Do I have access to benefits and experiences and perks on my trip or on my journey that I can have access to? And is Capital One going to be there for me in moments when things go wrong? So offering products like flight disruption assistance where customers can rebook, or curating an airport experience that gives them some respite from what can be an often kind of chaotic travel day, has really been the focus of how we're driving loyalty and engagement through our travel program.
And a lot of your inventory is coming from Hopper. It's a company where Capital One is a big investor. And
yeah, we partner really closely with Hopper and are very invested in them as a company. They've been just an incredible partner. And I think really share a lot of our values around working backwards from solving for customer pain points and using technology to drive a differentiated booking experience. It's been great to work with them.
Yeah. So what is the ultimate goal? Now, I know that's hard because we have multiple goals. We think about the multiple goal for loyalty. Is it to drive transactions? Is it to upsell? Is it to get a repeat customer? Is it to build brand? Right, so I know we want all those things, but when you think about specifically a loyalty program, or like what would you say? Is it, is it brand, to build the brand? Is it just to increase transactions, get people to, come to the hotel more often?
It's all of the above, right? And I don't know that so one of the things that I'm very proud of at Hilton, and certainly I know that in lodging in general, this is one of the key principles, is that we don't focus on trying to sell every last suite for the highest price possible, because there are customers who, for an amazing upgrade for a loyal relationship is meaningful. And so the transactional focus can, I think, take you off mission. And so I believe, honestly, the brands I care the most about, and certainly how we approach it, is if you want my relationship, then you have to demonstrate to me that you actually care, as opposed to simply trying to get the next dollar from me. And I think in everything that we do and all the experiences that we're offering and how we're evolving what we do through the partners that we've added to our ecosystem and the brands we're adding to our ecosystem, it's about listening to the customer and helping them find new ways to dream, shop, and stay with us. And I love saying, and you heard me say this before, whether that stay happens to be potentially at the edge of space, at the edge of the Serengeti, or any place else, on this planet and just sort of, slightly above it, we want to make sure we can provide that. And that tells the customer we were listening to them, and we're helping them to have experiences and dream in a way that they haven't done before, and they can use the currency they have with us to take them even further.
So it's being top of mind, it's providing an experience, a memorable experience,
and
but it also is related to the points and the currency, as you say.
Yeah, and in some cases, it's interesting, right? I'd say the currency sometimes is the points. But in other cases, I have a lot of good friends, and actually one I didn't see this trip yet, who talks about him taking his family to a resort in Florida, and now his grandchildren go there as well. And that's his relationship with us, not about the points. The relationship is this place where he gets to go to every year, and the team knows him and it takes care of his family. And it's currency. I'm not sure if you call that love necessarily, but it's a different kind of currency. It's emotional currency, and perhaps you use the points to keep track, but there are other ways that our customers measure, and we want to make sure that they understand always that when they say we love you, our response ought to be we love you more.
Love you more, I like that.
Wow.
Nadia, what are you doing to get love?
So look, think of it a bit like when you're a teenager, you want to do a lot of stuff, but you're always short on cash. And that's really the natural state of many of our flyers. And that's actually the problem that we are trying to solve. So we basically carry with them with their natural buying behavior. It's not just about flights or hotels. It's basically just maybe even doing grocery shopping, or it could be, using your credit card, your debit card, your e-wallet. And all of these actually help you keep attracting points on Move. And these points on Move, you keep collecting till you want to buy something. And it's not necessary that the full thing is bought with that amount. Even a partly, 10% discount that you could waive off, or you could buy that extra meal that you were looking for, or get that duty-free item that you were looking for. So it's a little bit of your extra handy cash is how we are rewarding our customers. And for us, the ultimate goal is that whenever they think about Move, they think about best value. Whenever they think about our points, they think of just like cash.
So immediate gratification.
Yeah.
I want to get to that in a little bit. Jen?
Yeah, I want to build on a couple of points that Oral and Nadia made, because I think they are so critically important. the points that Oral was making around, brand love and customers really feeling like you recognize them and care for them, I think those little personal touches are so important. And on inclusivity, Capital One has a long history as a company of being a full spectrum lender, which means, we work with customers who are at the beginning of their financial journey all the way up to, really incredibly heavy spending customers. And our rewards and loyalty program is so much broader than just travel. Travel is a part of it and my personal favorite part, but I'm a little biased in that assessment. But it's just one kind of touch point. And when we think about our overall kind of loyalty and rewards philosophy, there are elements of that touch both the point on driving brand love and being there for customers when it really matters, and then also inclusivity around making sure that we're providing clear and compelling value for our rewards, that customers really understand how and where they can use and redeem the points that they're earning, whether they're earning miles or they're earning cash back. And that we're providing a variety of redemption channels for them to be able to use and leverage those points, because travel is so important, but their lives are so much bigger than travel, particularly when you think about customers' financial lives. And so we've tried to design products, both in the travel space and beyond, at kind of every touch point along customers' financial lives and at every stage of their financial journey. So whether you have a really heavy spending customer who wants that incredible suite experience at an amazing boutique hotel in Paris, or you have a customer who really is earning points to pay for that family vacation or that visit to a family member, we want to make sure that they have a really clear, compelling path to both of those things and a product designed for them.
So you're providing points, status, cashback. If I asked you, and I want to ask all three of you, what do people really want, right? So we have points, status, cash, discounts, perks. I'm going to ask the audience, points or status? Points, status. I want status. Discounts or perks? Discounts, perks. Okay, so we have a very special audience here. Maybe a little different, though, from your audience, correct?
Yes. I love the poll because it tells me these are high net worth, affluent customers over here, great power group over here. But for mainstream and lower income, it's about cash, it's about discounts, it's about true instant value.
I mean, how long should people have to wait to redeem? That's another question for you.
Not going to get into that specifically. That's a long conversation depending on the relationship and the brands you choose and all kinds of other things in terms of how the math works. What I will say, though, is it's about what you get out of the relationship depending on what your objectives are. And so I didn't really care about airline loyalty until after September of 2001 when how you board and those other things became more material. And so in some ways, the audience said perks, but in many ways it's about how the thing that you're trying to achieve on your travel occasion is achieved, or how we facilitate that happening based on the relationship. In our universe at Hilton, your loyalty number is like your social security number. And so everything we do in our ecosystem, your ability to sort of use our app to check into your room, select your room, everything else you do in our ecosystem, the things that people value, is teed off your loyalty.
So value through service.
Yeah, so essentially it becomes more about service and how you access us, and then we knowing who you are, if you tell us what your occasion is, we certainly can actually activate against that. So as you can imagine, I get lots of calls from people who say, I have a family member or a good friend who's in a situation and they're going to be at this hotel. And I'm a loyal customer, can you guys do something? And we rally based on that relationship, right? And so in many ways, I think it's about the service offering. The other things become metrics to keep track of things. But when you're in a situation, whether it's I want to have an amazing experience with my family, or I'm walking up to the front desk and the person behind the front desk say, "Hello, good morning, Ms. Sileo," and your family is like, "Oh, you're a VIP." That recognition in that moment is worth more than 100,000 points, right? And we get that, and we respond to that.
How many points do I need to get that recognition, though?
In fact, as long as you're a member, we can do that for you.
You'll be looking out for that next time you stay at a Hilton, right?
I love Hilton. I do.
Look, I think companies have a lot of choices that they have to make about loyalty programs, and customers in reality want all of those things, right? They want clear value, they want status, they want perks, they want benefits. And I think companies have choices about whether they want to be really wide in offering a set of benefits for a like relatively shallow set of benefits for a large set of customers, or if they want to be really deep in a category or in a specific benefit type for us.
So you're talking about your partners and how they're approaching loyalty.
I think really any company that's trying to drive loyalty has, a sort of a matrix of strategic choices that they have to make about how and where they drive loyalty and provide perks and benefits and where they invest.
How do you know how to target? So this audience, right? We have a unique audience here. They want their perks, they want their status, right? There's an audience that doesn't. So how do you use your data to target and to know what people want?
I think it really comes down to just really investing in understanding the customer, understanding the research, talking to them, keeping the customer at the forefront of all of the problem solving that you're doing. We spend a significant amount of time just really deep in customer data, customer research, working back from not just what customers are telling us, but from what the data is telling us around there sometimes is a little bit of a disconnect between what people say they want and how they actually behave in the real world. And so, we spend a lot of time looking at both trying to triangulate the answer around how we craft our own products and services and offerings to drive loyalty.
Yeah. Use of data?
So it's pretty simple actually. So we look at where are people really earning their points from, because they can earn from different methods, and where are they really burning. So based on their earn-burn habits, we build personas, and that tells us whether they would like to go more deep into the services part of it, or they would like to go more broader on it. So that's an easy way to differentiate.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to move on a little bit to talk about partnerships, because, naturally, your strategies are built on partnerships. I'm interested to hear also from you, Oral, about, so my points are, through Hilton, how can I kind of expand that universe a little bit,
Good question. And so when I was here last time, there's so much I wanted to share, but I couldn't just yet. We've done a lot of things earlier this year. We've added some really great new partners to our ecosystem around these experiences and adventures that we're now offering to customers. And so in many ways, our focus is how do we use these relationships that we forge strategically to give you a bunch of new ways to dream with us, stay with us, expanding the stay even beyond traditional hotel stays. And so earlier this year, we announced a really cool partnership with a company called AutoCamp. Glamping, it's really cool, amazing brand providing a luxury outdoor experience. If you want to, go camping and make s'mores with your kids and, under the stars, but then retreat to a luxury Airstream accommodation, we can do that. We've also announced a partnership with small luxury hotels, and we now have about 400 of those properties on our platform, really bespoke, amazing experiences in parts of the world where we were not before, and a lot more to come. Very purposeful, very thoughtful. When I leave here, and I'm just saying it because I'm not bragging, I know some of you are also elite members, and I might actually see some of you there. When I leave here this week, I'm heading to Las Vegas to support Team McLaren. Hilton's had a 20-year relationship with McLaren, and they're doing really well. They're crushing it right now, and so we're going to support them at the Vegas Grand Prix. And we're taking some of our loyal customers with us, our owners, and we love these partnerships because they help us to actually help people have these once-in-a-lifetime experiences, bucket list things that they can do. We do the same thing in music. The kind of events and the kind of experience and one-on-one time that you wouldn't get otherwise, but through your relationship with us. And so I look forward to seeing some of you in Vegas celebrating and supporting Team McLaren.
So your partnerships are more about these experiences,
Absolutely.
Events, music, right? Concerts, sports. Okay.
And rewarding the relationship in a fundamentally different way. It's so emotional, and I love the stories we get back from each one of these. When you have someone who's taken a friend or a family member for the first time to do something that they always dreamed of. The VIP experience, spending time with one of the drivers, or in some of the other areas where we're doing sports athletes or a celebrity in terms of music. We love doing that. We've also done some really clever things recently, which are so cool. We've, as you know, we have a long partnership with Paris Hilton. We have partnered with her to transform some of our rooms in a number of hotels. We also recently partnered with Wicked to transform some of the rooms in one of our hotels in New York into the Wicked Suite. It's an interesting thing, right? Because that suite's booked probably from now to eternity. Folks want to have that specific experience, and so more of those to come. We think it's about experience, and actually use the data, yes, but listen to the customer in terms of what emotively they're trying to achieve. And when you connect that way and deliver on that, it's hard to describe the connection. It goes beyond anything you'd sort of use the word loyalty to mean. It becomes almost oddly familial, where the customer wants to be there and spend time with us because it's kind of like, well, you know what? You get me.
Yeah, there's so much about brand there, right?
Yeah.
And I know like what you're doing, Nadia, is more about transactions, correct?
Yes.
And your partnerships with like, what, big pharmacists, pharmacy company?
Yeah, so our partnership priority is places where people want to earn, where are all the places where they will earn points from.
Who are some of your partners?
So some of our partners are, say for example, banking. So banking, they buy a lot of points from us. Their biggest concern is dilution of the points, because every time I issue more points, it dilutes. So for our banking partners, we've actually moved our entire reward issuance program onto blockchain, so that the day it is issued, the value is secured over there. The other big partner for us are the SMEs, which include a lot of small malls, a few pharmacy chains. And what they're seeing is that instead of giving discounts, if people can continue to earn points and use it for travel because that's what they plan it for, that would be a big help. To solve their issue, they are lacking a loyalty program. So we are running the loyalty program for all of these SMEs, and they basically log in through our OTA app, so we get all of this customer database. So it's all about solving different issues, even for our partners who are basically issuing the points. In one place, we are basically managing the loyalty program for them, like SMEs. In the other case, we are actually managing the entire rewards program onto blockchain for our financial partners.
Right. So shared currency as well, right?
Yeah.
So that if I'm an SME and you're not going to be, I'm not going to build my own program, it's not going to work.
Absolutely.
And I join up with you.
Yeah.
And that's great. Yeah.
I think for us, the most important thing in building successful partnerships has been making sure that there is values, mission, and incentives alignment. Partnerships can be tricky to navigate, right? You can have the opportunity to create something really amazing together if you're both sort of oriented in the same direction and all boats are rowing in the same direction. Just kind of examples to share. One, we've talked a lot about our partnership and our relationship with Hopper. I think, it was very important for us to pair both the strategic partnership with the investment in them, so that all of our incentives are collectively aligned around growth of Capital One's business, growth of Hopper's business, and that we were really building a purpose-built solution for our customers from the ground up, and it's been great. And then the other I'll just share, which is really exciting and net new, is the opening of our first Capital One landing at DCA in partnership with Chef Jose Andres and his team. It opened just yesterday, actually was our first official day of operations. And in that, I think we were really both collectively focused on saying like, hey, there is a clear need in the airport space, right? It's not just about people buying travel, it's also about the in-transit experience, which, again, people who are so used to being in control of their day-to-day, you go into an airport and like everything is totally out of your control, from security lines to food, to things like that. And in DCA and LaGuardia, where we have our next landing, people aren't spending a ton of time in these airports, but they still want an incredible dining experience. They want access to healthy food, and it's not as conducive to a traditional lounge because you're not spending time there. And so we partnered with Chef Jose and his team to bring together, kind of a net new concept to give people a great dining experience in the heart of the terminal, and are just like collectively so excited about that.
Our time is up, but I do want quick, and this is like such a big question, I don't know how I can do it quickly, but try. ROI, like how do you know it's working? How do you know what you're doing is working, Oral?
We've got 200 million members in our program, and typically those members, the average daily rate they book is much higher than folks who are not a part of that program.
Yes, they do, absolutely. Nadia?
For me, there are two matrices that I generally look at. The first one is the mix of external money to internal money. So that has actually gone from 20% to 40% of all the points which are bought. So that's really good that other players are seeing the value. And the second one is cash, points like cash, which is what percentage of my payments are using any form of points, which has also doubled. So these are the two important variables I look at.
Those are positive stats, Jen.
Yeah, we look at, on our travel program specifically, we measure overall kind of top line booking volume growth. and then also the percentage of customers who are repeat users and kind of how they're continuing to engage. Beyond our travel program, we look at overall brand perception and what we're able to drive via customers who are touched by the travel program. It's working. It's been great.
Okay, wonderful. Jenn, Nadia, Oral, as always, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.